Good afternoon. My name is Bethany Persky, and I'm the Deputy General Counsel for the New York City Campaign Finance Board. On behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome you. Today is Thursday, March 26th, 2020, and the time is 1:00 p.m. We're here for a public hearing regarding amendments to the CFB rules as published in the City Record on February 24th, 2020. Pursuant to Section 1043 of the New York City Charter, a public hearing is held to provide an opportunity for public comments on proposed rule changes. A video recording is being made of this proceeding and will be made part of the public record for this rulemaking. Given the circumstances, the hearing is being held remotely, and I'd like to thank our public affairs and systems staff, as well as our paralegal, for all their work to make that possible. If you're having any technical difficulties, but you can still hear me, feel free to email me at bpersky, that's P-E-R-S-K-I-E, at nyccfb.info, and we'll try to address that as quickly as we can. The proposed amendments concern public funds payments and repayments, proof of compliance with the Conflicts of Interest Board, deadlines for submitting certain documents and completing a compliance training, disclosure statements, contribution limits, transfers of funds, qualified expenditures, independent expenditures, special elections, runoff elections, and the voter guide. These amendments are being made to conform to and facilitate implementation of and compliance with amendments made to the Administrative Code and the City Charter by Local Laws 1 and 128 for the year 2019, amendments made to the Charter by the 2018 and 2019 Charter Revision Commissions, and amendments made to the New York State election law by Section 14 of Chapter 5 of the Laws of 2019 and Section 8 of Chapter 6 of the Laws of 2019. The first person who wishes to testify is Aaron Foldenauer. Mr. Foldenauer, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Aaron Foldenauer. I'm appearing today in my capacity as a consultant to Dow Yin for New York. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'm not sure I have a perfect webcam set up, and therefore I'm going to turn off the camera and switch to audio only, if that's okay, so that I can focus on my remarks.
That's no problem, and I can hear you coming in fine.
Thank you again. My name is Aaron Foldenauer, and I'm appearing today in my capacity as a consultant to Dow Yin for New York. Mr. Yin is a Chinese-born community activist in Queens, and he's a candidate for Queens Borough President. He's on the ballot in the special election and has also filed petitions to be on the ballot in this year's Democratic primary scheduled to occur in June. Since the board is holding a hearing today, Mr. Yin asked me to speak. My comments focus on the CFB's rules with respect to public funding and distribution thereof in connection with the pending contests for Queens Borough President. As you're no doubt aware, the special election was originally due to conclude 2 days ago on March 24th. And even though early voting and absentee ballot had already commenced, the election was recently suspended given the ongoing public health crisis attributable to COVID-19. Now, the words suspended and canceled have been conflated by multiple parties in connection with the schedule. But it has been reported that the mayor does indeed intend to reschedule the election. And indeed, the executive director of this agency just recently proposed via letter that one special election be held for Queens Borough President in June. So in other words, it is widely anticipated that the special election will be rescheduled. So Dow Yin, he does have a near-term concern, namely the recent decision to suspend public fund payments to candidates in the race for borough president, including to Mr. Yin, has had a crippling impact on Mr. Yin's personal finances and also Dow Yin's vendors and staff. So as the board sits today to consider additional rule changes, I do want to focus on the impact, the personal impact of the public funds rules on Mr. Yin and other candidates, given that it is easy to forget the very real impact that these rules have on citizens who are making great sacrifice to run for office. So I know my allocated time is short, and I promise that my additional remarks are brief, and I appreciate the chair's forbearance. So point number one, the campaign does understand that Dow Yin has qualified to receive public funding. As of disclosure statement number 2, February 17th, Mr. Yin was short just $1,275, meeting the threshold. And in the next disclosure statement, number 3, which closed on March 9th, Mr. Yin reported nearly $4,000 in additional matching claims and also provided documentation to substantiate certain previous claims. Point number 2, the campaign and the other candidates for Queensborough president in the special election were due to receive a public funds determination letter and payment on March 19th. So Dow Yin, the campaign, and the other candidates relied on this promise that public funds would be made payable should the campaigns be eligible. And it is crucial, I would argue, that candidates be allowed to rely on the promises that public funds be made, particularly since they're devoting so much time and often personal money to and the other campaigns were notified on March 18th, one day before.
I'm sorry, Mr. Foldenauer. I'm just going to interrupt you. There's been a little bit of feedback, I think, maybe coming from your microphone, and I was able to make out what you said up until about 5 or 10 seconds ago. So I'm just going to ask you to go back a sentence or two and repeat, please.
Great, and please let me know if there's additional feedback. So the campaign and the other candidates were due to receive a public funds determination letter and payment if they were eligible on March 19th. So Dow Yin, the campaign, and the other candidates for Queensborough president who were potentially eligible did rely on those promises that public funds be made. On March 18th, the campaign and the other candidates were notified of a last-minute decision to cancel those public funds payments. Here, this places Mr. Yin at a substantial disadvantage compared to the other candidates in the race because certain other candidates have already received previous public funds distributions, whereas Mr. Yin has not. Now, the coronavirus outbreak, it no doubt brings us unique circumstances, but those circumstances should not operate to the detriment of Mr. Yin. And indeed, if one were to be intellectually consistent, if public funds should not be dispersed, then all of the candidates who previously received those funds should be required to pay them back. No one, of course, is proposing that. Point number 3, and I just have a few more points to go. The personal impact on Mr. Yin of the delay in these public funds payments has been significant. Mr. Yin has loaned $53,500 to his campaign. And suffice it to say that he's no Michael Bloomberg. Mr. Yin is middle class, has 2 children, and maintains only small balances in his checking and savings account. So where did Mr. Yin get this $53,500 that he loaned to his campaign? 1, he borrowed $17,000 from his 401k retirement account. He took out a $16,000 loan from 2 of his credit cards at a rate of 7.99%. He took out a bank loan of $20,000 at a rate of 6.99%, and he withdrew a small sum of money from his savings account. So the inability to pay these loans back now that the public funds payments has been delayed has crippled his finances. Now, I know what you're probably thinking at this point. Other candidates have made the mistake in other races of taking out too many loans, and they've dug themselves into a hole that they can't get out of. However, here, Mr. Yin, he qualified for public funds under the rules as they are written. And the unexpected coronavirus outbreak should not cause Mr. Yin to be denied the public funds to which he's entitled. Now, in addition to affecting Mr. Yin, this also adversely affects staff and small businesses who have performed services to his campaign. And we estimate that the additional liabilities of the campaign are about $40,000 on top of the $53,500 in loans that Mr. Yin has made. And this has a real impact on small businesses in Queens, where he's performed services, and it has a real impact on people, particularly given these difficult times. Mr. Yin told me about a local print shop the other day who called him. The campaign owes this print shop over $3,000. The print shop is struggling because of the coronavirus, and Mr. Yin cannot pay that local print shop because he has not received his public funds. So I just have 2 more short points to go. So Mr. Yin does believe at this point, as we continue this dialogue, that it's only fair for the CFB to inform him where he officially stands in terms of qualification. So leading up to March 19th, the CFB and CFB auditors were planning to send a determination letter to the campaign that would inform the campaign where exactly it stands vis-a-vis the thresholds. And that underlying work has certainly been done. The campaign has asked its liaison and staff for a letter indicating where the campaign stands now in terms of the threshold and where the campaign stands compared to with respect to each donation he's received. That way, the campaign can use this time wisely to be in full compliance. The campaign does want to be in full compliance. However, the staff has not provided that additional documentation at this time. So the campaign submits that it's only fair that the CFB be transparent and work with the campaign during these difficult times. And now I'm going to sum up. One overarching point Mr. Yin would like to make is this, is that in response to the coronavirus outbreak, other government agencies and courts have bent over backwards to benefit the citizens impacted. Similarly, the Dao-Yin campaign does ask that the CFB also take the same generous philosophy with respect to candidates like Dao-Yin who have sacrificed so much in time and here in money to run for office. So as the Queensborough president elections are reshuffled and or rescheduled, the campaign will certainly need the CFB's advice and guidance. The campaign appreciates the executive director's March 23rd letter proposing that there be a single special election for the seat of Queensborough president, which seems like a reasonable one. In order to be in full compliance, the campaign has amended 2 of its disclosure statements late last night and plans to continue to do so as it uses this time wisely to ensure up-to-date reporting. I look forward to working with you and the other members of the CFB, and I know that Dao-Yin and other members of the campaign look forward to working with you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Foldenauer. We appreciate your comments. Is there anyone else who wishes to testify? Okay, if there is no further testimony, this hearing is now closed. The time is 1:12 p.m. Thank you very much.